I'll tell you when it's about to go on. So have you ever wondered why WildlifeDirect can do so much? It's because we have phenomenal partners like Muthoni Garland of StoryMoja,
who insists you must get an amazing elephant fact book and learn all there is to know about these amazing mammals. And then you must get the activity book so that once you know what you need to know, then you can prove it by going on safari and filling in this activity book. And then what you really need, I mean, this is very handy. It's a wildlife passport. And this little beauty allows you to fill in information about 12 endangered species in this gorgeous country of ours. And you know how many children that exist that don't know anything at all about wildlife? I mean, really. So you can fill in and it will ask you questions like, why should we save a Grevy's zebra? Why? Yeah. And what kind of things can you do to save? I'm not going to tell you the answer. Fill it in yourself. Answer the questions, right? And it does this for a whole bunch of animals, including some that I know so little about, like the pangolin. I mean, really, pangolin? And then this little beauty that I particularly love, this turtle. Oh. Yeah, I've just come from Watamu and, and I went to visit the Turtle Watch Project. And I saw a hawksbill turtle that was being treated there it had been caught in a net. And I think it is just amazing the work they do. But, hey, you can write up your experiences, your stories, you can really get engaged with these animals. So
wait, Muthoni, you are a fanatic. You are crazy about books and kids reading.
Yes.
Just behind you are just a bunch of all the books that you guys have written and published. Tell me about your journey. What is StoryMoja?
Well, I think that in order for us to create the future that we want, the kind of future where our kids don't feel you have to get on a risky boat to go and migrate to some other country, the kind of future where, you can get a job in something that you're really interested in the kind of future where it's not just about money or about work, it's about living your passions. And then we have to make that possible by opening people's eyes, by teaching them to read, to write, to imagine, to, create their own worlds, So I think books are a powerful vehicle for teaching both literacy and life skills and laying the foundation for lifelong learning, which, I think is what we need to transform this country. In other words, I think a kid should read 100 books a year, no less.
100 books?
If you're
One
under
book every
8
3
years,
days?
Absolutely. If you're under 8 years old, the books you read generally take maybe half an hour. Why can't you read 2 or 3 in a week? You can, okay. And it's only, but it can only be possible, obviously, if you can afford them. And if you can't afford them, then our schools should have libraries.
So what are you doing to transform that?
Well, so we've got the Start a Library project that's running. And what we do is work with lots of wonderful partners and we start libraries in schools. In fact, these books are featured now in the wildlife themed libraries and the Start a Library schools, so the schools we work with, we train the teachers, we train the students, the student librarians, and we encourage them to form groups within the school that talk about, or form book clubs that talk about the books they read and what they've learnt from them, and we set them all kinds of interesting sort of challenges along the way. And then we monitor and get feedback. So in our WhatsApp group of the teachers engaged in Start a Library schools, they give us all kinds of feedback. They share lessons, they share ways in which they've excited kids to learn about different subjects through books, talked about, say, life skills or, and some of them very simple, why, in our culture, especially animals are such great teaching tools. So when you say, how did the hare lose its tail? And then what lessons does that have for us? How did the monkey get its fur? Because it was so greedy, and took shortcuts, etc. So instead of washing, anyway, you have to read the book. Of course, not the wrong way
so
around.
wait a minute. How many schools are you talking about in this WhatsApp group?
So we've got 152 schools in the WhatsApp group. These
Wow.
are the schools where we've started the Starter Library. So these are the ones we're in regular contact with. Because when we start a library, like I said, we train the librarians. We train student librarians as well, and we run reading programs so that every library period, and you may not know this, but in most schools they don't use a library period for library books because they don't have libraries, they don't have books. It's only 2% of schools in Kenya that have libraries.
2%.
2% of
Oh my
Kenyan
God.
public, sort of schools, public and low-cost schools have libraries. So yeah, we've got 20,000 to go, but we've made a start. We've got 152 libraries, and in those, the reading programs are just as important as the physical books we give them. So when we go back to monitor, and we regularly do that, and part of WhatsApp group is part of the monitoring tools that we use, is we go and find out what have they read. So we have a tool very similar to this passport where we ask them to fill in their questions, their learning, so it's called a book club diary. Can I show you?
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
a book club diary. So when they
This is Muthoni's
fill,
office. And she's hobbling because she's broken her foot.
So, So here's a book club diary. I'm sorry I'm showing you my correction copy.
Oh my God, that's so cool.
But in it, there's opportunities for the kids to fill in. What did they read? What lessons did they learn from what they read? What did they like most or not like? Which characters did they identify with? And because sometimes you have kids who are not great readers, but they like to draw, there's also a section where you can draw, you can draw bits that you liked in the book. And
That's amazing. I want one of those. I want to go back to school. It's such a beautiful color. You seem to be a pink lady. You like pink.
Well, the StoryMoja, we're pink. That's our corporate color. But I think with the new curriculum, I'm such a fan of this new curriculum because
This is the new Kenyan curriculum.
the new Kenyan curriculum. And people have been dissing it and all that, and I hear a lot of negative stuff out there, but I think it comes from a place of fear because it's a huge change. To go from a system that emphasizes rote learning over real understanding, to a process where teachers, we can't tell how well you've done just by looking at the grades. It's by looking at even the slowest learner. Assessing them and beginning to see what did they understand.
So that is terrifying.
It's very terrifying. I mean, we're looking at very sophisticated sort of assessment rubrics, which is not what they're used to. They're used to just being assessed on a simple, how many multiple choice answers did you get right, etc.
But at the end of the day, our kids will be much more able to survive in this world and make careers for themselves.
Absolutely. And we keep saying, in any case, Africa is in such a wonderful place because when you think about what's happening, in about, Oxford University published a study that said in about 25 years, something like, they say 47% of all jobs that we know today will have gone.
Oh my God.
So there's a sense of just how exponential the change that's going on, that all the foundations of what we've believed where jobs will come from or what our lives will look like, all that is being put into question. And we're right there with it, So it's not like the way in the industrial age, we could say we're waiting for foreigners to show us this is a fridge, this is what you do with a fridge, and you need electricity, and this is how electricity works. It isn't like that anymore. It's what we generate, and we're part of this great big discovering a new way of living, a new way of being, and I think it's so exciting to be part of that journey. But the only way we can really be powerful drivers of that is if our kids, we teach them in a way that allows them to nurture their critical thinking, their imagination, their sense of, I can change the world. I'm a change agent. So a lot of the work we're doing right now is about celebrating and empowering children to do things, not just to read and know things, but to be involved experientially in whatever it is that they do. So I'm very excited. That's why I'm so excited about this project. So everyone should be a part of this project. Every school in this country should be a part of this project.
Oh, and it's so great that you guys partnered with us. I'm so thrilled.
No,
It's been an incredible journey for us to go from chasing criminals in the Kenyan court system to driving around the country and going to schools in the most rural corners to
Yeah.
bring them this extraordinary
Yeah.
project.
Yeah.
So exciting. And teaching teachers, wow.
Yeah.
But you did something very interesting recently. You told me that you were going to break the world record. What were you guys doing?
So, not we were going to break. We broke the world record.
Well, you broke
Yeah,
it.
we broke it. We just want to break it again. So, with the so we have the National Read Aloud, and in the National Read Aloud, what we do is usually the last Friday in February, and on the day of the African Child in June, we encourage schools, different schools, to participate by reading from the same excerpt or same book at the same time. And then we get, oh, I'm sorry, that's my phone going off. Excuse me, one moment.
No, don't break your other leg.
Break my other leg. Hello.
Okay, well, this is the office of the big
Okay,
chiefs
sorry.
at StoryMoja. I think any kid would be very comfortable in this office. It's full of bright, colourful things and lots of books. Okay, so you went to break the world record. So you're now in the Guinness Book of World Records.
No, we're not in the Guinness Book, unfortunately,
Oops.
because that's a very expensive process. You have to fly the judges here. And because the world record, the way it's structured, at least this particular thing, it's about getting teachers, everybody around the country, every school reading at the same time from the same book, right? And so the judges would have to find some way of verifying. So they said we'd have to bring, I can't remember how many judges, etc.
Oh,
and
so
we
they
said,
didn't come.
actually, we just need to know ourselves that we've done it.
Great.
So what we do is when we go to the school, we give them a template they have to fill in. And the template says, how many schools, you head teacher, please sign it off. How many students in your school took part? It's usually done on Friday assembly, where most students, in any case, most schools have students meeting at assembly on Fridays. And during assembly, we take half an hour and we bring in reading ambassadors. And the reading ambassadors are just people from usually business people or, other people who've done well in the neighborhood. And we ask them to enter the school and read with the children.
Wow.
So they read for half an hour. And then at the end of it, the teacher then signs off the template and stamps it with a school stamp saying, this is how many children participated from my school. And where they can, and nowadays, thank God for smartphones, we get thousands of photographs. So we ask them, take a photograph of the assembly. On the days of the read aloud, everyone at StoryMoja goes out to different schools. So I've been to the most amazing schools. The enthusiasm is fantastic. The challenge usually is just that the schools can't afford books. So in the past, we've done all sorts of things like photocopies. We've done different things. We've tried with the newspapers printing the excerpt. But the critical thing is that the schools should have a library so the kids can go there, later and then read a lot more of the book because they're so excited. And we always choose an excerpt that has this sort of feeling that, oh my God, what's going to happen next? So that the kids then, want to go.
So what book did you last read?
So we read from Attack of the Cheetahs, which is, the three children who save a whole community with their superpowers.
Oh, I want to read it now.
Because they're these aliens, you see, that come from a dry planet. And they suck all the water from the only borehole in town. And when that water's gone, everybody's going to starve and die. But nobody knows who's taking the water because these aliens are invisible. Except for 3 children, one from each community, and they're 3 different communities. And they try to tell the townspeople, well, you see, it is these invisible aliens, but who wants to listen to children?
Right.
And who wants to believe, really, that it is aliens? What are aliens? What are you talking about? And so the children are disbelieved, and they're told it's because you're hanging with people from a different community. That's why you're talking such, nonsense. And before you know it, their families are tearing them apart from their friends. Everybody's telling them, no, you can't work together. But unfortunately, these superpowers only work if you work together. So you have to figure out. So
I have to read this story now. That is amazing. So, first I want to say you have inspired so many people, and I know that thousands of kids are reading not thousands, probably hundreds of thousands of kids are reading who would never have been reading if it wasn't for you and your work. And I'm sure that there are lots of people watching this and they want to know, so who is this incredible woman and how can we help her? What can people do to help you to get more libraries in schools?
Visit, for libraries in schools, and we are always keen that people contribute, and you can contribute in different ways. You can go to, if you've been to school yourself in Kenya, you know which school you went to, join together with the Alumni Association and then contact us. And we will tell you, we've got a whole plan. And we put the plan together that shows you how to, what is required, how do the teachers get trained, so that, because it's no use taking books if the teachers don't know what to do with them, right? Because, we don't have libraries, so teachers are not trained.
I know, I've seen schools where books are locked in cupboards.
Yes, that's what happens. So we can, so if you've been to a Kenyan school, or in contact with alumni association, etc., we can certainly do that. If you'd like to contribute books, and please, it's children's books, right? Not ancient sort of encyclopedias from what. Nothing wrong with that, nothing wrong with those, but those you can contribute to Macmillan and other libraries that require them. But for the schools, we really want books that will excite children, because your first exposure to books, if that's not exciting, then you're never transported into this world that makes you think, God, I need to find out more. So very important that they be the right books. If you'd like to be involved in any other way, if you want to contribute money towards the cause so that we buy the books or train the teachers or use it to facilitate the teachers to come to our training sessions, then please contact us. Then just visit, either write to info@storymojaafrica.co.ke or visit our website, storymojaafrica.co.ke.
Great. I'll type in those two websites.
Yes, please. And if you like to buy a book, then it's storymojaafrica.com. And you can buy it online, and you can browse, and you can whatever, and we will deliver.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Muthoni.
Thank you so much, Paula.
So that was Muthoni Garland. So anybody doesn't know her, now you do. No more excuses.